School trustees of the Lebanon Community School Corporation will meet in regular session at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, July 15th, 2025, here in the Herman B. Wells Community Center. This meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There will be time for public participation as indicated by the agenda. The meeting site is fully accessible, and any person requiring further accommodations should contact the superintendent at the school corporation's central office. Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Howell.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have one member missing this evening, Mr. Hendricks, but we do have a quorum. Mission statement.
I guess I will read it. Lebanon Community School Corporation challenges everyone every day to reach a new best.
All right. Moving on to approval of minutes from the June 17th, 2025 regular meeting, the June 17th public hearing, and the June 17th executive content certification session. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes as presented in your background notes?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or corrections to those minutes? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Superintendent's announcements and celebrations.
Thank you, Mrs. Hutchison. I had very few last meeting. I have several to share with the board this evening. There was quite a bit of some legislative updates as well as some announcements and celebrations regarding LCSC. So first, I'd just like to thank Connie Bruder, our human resources specialist, and Melanie Beltran for their hard work in setting up our first job fair last month that we held here at the Wells Community Center. It was a successful event. We had many community members and folks interested in working in positions in our district attend, and we will continue to do that, and we hope that it grows. We are also registered to be part of the Boone County Chamber community or countywide job fair in September, so we will have a representation there as well, as we're always looking for quality candidates. But we are not quite full in all of our departments, but we're in pretty good shape, and we had some good interest. So I just wanted to thank them for their hard work and for our administrators being part of that. You may have seen that we have begun to ramp up some of the marketing with with Holly Stockler and her work on social media. Just wanted to point out that work has begun. We'll continue to do that. We're really leaning into promoting that Lebanon schools are something for everyone. That's kind of the tagline of a lot of the marketing that is going out, and you'll see some more from her celebrating the class of 2025 and our academic offerings. So thank you for the support of that work, and I just wanted to mention that that is up and running. I also wanted to thank the group Friends of Lebanon Schools, which was, is an outgrowth of our Tiger Community Ambassadors. We had a couple of our former Tiger Community Ambassadors that felt that it was important for our community to hear what's happening throughout our school district and to provide kind of a unifying social media spot that would promote all of our schools' social media accounts, et cetera, from a community perspective. And they invited our school administration to provide some community outreach sessions, which we did over the course of June. So each Wednesday in June, except the last one because of inclement weather, we slipped one into the month of July. We did go into our spots in our community, engage with parents, ask questions, answer their questions about the school district, and we plan to do more of that. We have our State of the Schools coming up in August, more about that later, but it was great to be part of that, and we appreciate the Tiger Community Ambassadors' engagement and asking us to engage with our community. So thank you to Denise Niblick and Hope Coons, especially, as the two community members that have spearheaded that work. I've added in your packet some great pictures that Mr. Levine, our high school athletic director, provided for you this evening. Held the annual IHSAA Student Leadership Conference this year. It was at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, so they got to enjoy the museum, some of the exhibits, meet with some of the teams, just engage in a great atmosphere. This is what co and extracurriculars are all about, not just competing against other schools, but learning from each other and learning to grow as leaders. So wanted to provide that, and I thank Mr. Levine and the coaches that attended with the students. It's kind of cool to see all of them kissing the yard of bricks there in one of the last pictures. So I want to make sure I provided that for you as well. Yes, very good. Very good. I'm sure that they walked past Mr. Dennis's statue and they would all do reverence in the town of Speedway. Did I say that right? The town of Speedway. Yes, correct. I do have some legislative updates, several, as I mentioned last meeting, I would share with the board. And I'll try to provide these as concisely as possible, but some of the legislative outcomes of this past session do affect school boards, so I wanted to bring your attention to a few of those items as well this evening. First of all, there was a change again, it's the second year in a row, to this student attendance law. And I just wanted to share with the board that I'll be sending out a welcome back message to our families here in the next several days and clarifying several of the points in the school attendance law. It's being brought to my attention that there's some misconceptions and miscommunication about what is and is not in that law. So I think it's important for us to share with the parents early, of course, and before the school year starts, what it is and it isn't. The changes to the law actually do clarify some things for us. I think separates a chronically absent student from the definition of a habitually truant student. So where the miscommunication is happening is in those definitions. I think there's some parents nervous about if my student misses a day of school, what's that going to mean? Or if they miss 3 days of school, what's that going to mean? The most important thing is that parents engage with us, let us know why their child may not be able to attend school that day, and engage with the school. There are some thresholds triggered by the law where we have to have a conference with parents and students when they reach a certain number of absences within a certain period of time. But we're not going to be going down a truancy road unless we don't know where the student is and the student and the parents or guardians are not engaging with the school. That's when we start getting into different territory as far as where the student is and dealing with that. So I'll be sharing that with the parents, and hopefully that'll tamp down some of the anxiety around that. The law did remove several requirements for staff training and also changed the frequency of staff training. So our staff will see some reduction in the amount of training they have to do annually. I think that will be met favorably by our staff. It also shifted the responsibility of initial training for the initial teacher's licenses to the teacher preparation programs. So our teachers may not spend as much time outside of their class time going through the trainings as they've done in the past. One of those is the bullying training, and that is no longer a requirement for our volunteers as well. And so we've already removed that from that step in our volunteer packet. So that's one less step that our volunteers will have to take as well. So I just wanted to point that out, that it was there, but it is not there anymore. School improvement plans, the board has annually approved those from the schools. We submit those to the state as a school district. That requirement has been removed from the state Department of Education and from legislative action. So no longer will we be bringing a template designed sort of by the state to be approved by the board. That does not mean we're going to be without school improvement plans in Lebanon schools. What it does mean is now we can attach our plans more directly to our 4 key systems, which the board has adopted, and to the work that we're doing with John Tanner and Brave Ed. So it actually is a very timely move from the state that we were going to have more local control over what those school improvement plans look like. So we are going to continue to do that. The board will be read in on the plans of our buildings. We certainly all want to plan for improvement, look at our needs assessments. That's part of being a quality organization, and we will do that, but we no longer have the legislative hoop. Another item that came to the board annually in August was a percentage of teachers meeting the thresholds of highly effective, improvement necessary, or ineffective through the teacher evaluation system. Those definitions or labels, if you will, have been removed in this last legislative session. Really has given local control back to local school districts on what their teacher evaluation system is going to be. So we are going to take advantage of that, and we're going to stay with the same system we had last year because this went into effect July 1st. The law got passed in April. So we're going to stay with the same appraisal system that we've used up until this year and through this year. But we're going to sit down with teachers and with administrators, and we'll look at systems that are already in place by perhaps companies that and authors and experts that have done that, or we may look at a combination of items from all of those places and our past experiences, but we'll be building our own system again. Really the only requirement is that we have it published on our website as something that our community can see. So I know our administration is eager to dig in to that, and I know our teachers will appreciate having some local ownership of the teacher evaluation system as well. So that's a good thing that we'll be bringing to our staff this school year. As far as school board items go, and I've added this to your board packet this evening, the Indiana School Boards Association did a nice job of providing you some FAQs recently, and so I put those in your packet for your convenience. But the new law did expand the topics that the school boards can discuss in executive session, so you'll see that again in your packet there as well. Also, it changed school board compensation, should school boards choose to do so. Annually, the maximum school board members can earn currently, I believe, is $2,000 annually, but that has been changed to equal 10% of the lowest paid teacher salary in the district. So for us, our starting teacher salary is $51,000. So it'd be 10% of that would be the maximum this board could consider. This is an item, as you know, that you take a look at in your annual reorganization meeting. And so just wanted to share with you that that's a change, and the board can decide to keep it the exact same amount. That's a maximum amount. You can do anything below what the statutory maximum is, but that was part of the legislative action as well. Speaking of the reorganization meeting, it removed the requirement that must be done within the first 15 days of January, and now it's the first 30 days of this calendar year. So we are going to be able to hold our reorganization meeting in front of our regular meeting in January, so the board will not have to schedule a special meeting in January. So that's a good thing. Maybe you'll get a morning back. Mr. Clauser can maybe start his marathon training an hour or so later than he has. But so that was a good move by the legislature as well. We appreciated that. I know there's a lot of questions out there right now regarding the Federal Department of Education. I don't have any answers, of course. It seems to be a changing hourly. So there's a lot of anxiety around that, of course, across the country. Currently, all of the I should not say all, the federal grants that are the Title II grants, which we use to support our staff, primarily supporting our staff in professional development. That's the bulk of what we spend our Title II funds on is professional development for our teachers. That has had no movement as we sit here this evening. Is still frozen, whatever word you'd like to use. Title III is the funds that supports our English language learner students and programming around that. We have no answers on that as we sit here today. Title IV has several applications, including technology, purchase for students, mental health supports, things of that nature. We have no movement on that currently, and I believe Title 1D Title 1D is the funds It's got, the D stands for delinquent, Title I delinquent. So this would be what our Methodist, IU Methodist Children's Home would tap into. We're the administrator of those funds. That's in limbo as well. So all of those funds, we have no answers for at this point in time, and so we're in the same boat. The last I saw, I think it was $6 billion or so in frozen funds that we don't know where we stand at this point and what that's going to look like. The State Department of Education has been reducing staff as well and staffing as well. Some of those have been in critical areas, including title. So some of the folks that we have worked with year over year to plan with our title funds, who have a good handle on the federal requirements, the reporting requirements, all of those hoops that go through that. Several of those folks have moved on as well. So we have a new crop of folks we're going to need to work with or not. We may be working with skeleton crews. So there's a lot in limbo at the state level as well with regard to that. We did receive this past week our Title I allocation, and I did share with the board in your weekly notes, but I did want to share here that we did see an $82,000 reduction in funds from last year to this year. That's about, well, it's a 19.3333% reduction over from what we received last year. So that is significant. And you're talking $82,000. You're talking about some significant dollars. What that means for us is we will be leveraging 100% of our title dollars to people and staffing, but we are not going to be able to fund through title many of the supplies, supports, professional development that Title I would provide for the Title I schools. None of that will be able to be provided. We'll need to leverage all of our Title I funds for people. This takes us back, for context, this takes us back to 2018 level of Title I funds. We were a smaller number of students at that time, and I hesitate, but when you look at the poverty level in the community, it is based on a Title I clearinghouse of their definition of poverty within your school district, not necessarily just your school population. And that's what you base there's a long, complicated formula to determine how much schools receive. But the definition of what qualifies a family to be designated in poverty also changes and has been changing very recently as well. So while folks say, well, we have a lower poverty level than we did in X year or Y year, perhaps it could be that the family didn't qualify, but did in another year. That may not mean that they had more funds in a real sense to provide for themselves. So sometimes it's also a formula that's applied over the top of your title funds. That's a lot to take in, but title is a very, very important part of our work to be able to support our students and families that need that support. So I did want to take some time and talk about that this evening as well. So I have some of that data in your background notes as well. The state did reinstate grading of schools, so that you'll be seeing some of that coming down the pike. There are many concerns with that I have and that my fellow superintendents share. I think it's a concern from an economic development standpoint as well for communities as well, and is one of the reasons that we've been proactive in working towards a benefits-based accountability framework for our families and our community, working with John Tanner and his work, working with Zionsville and Dr. Kaufman. And I'm happy to report when I've reached out to several colleagues, there's 2 of our colleagues in 2 school districts that are interested in learning more as well. And I do think that if there's 4 or 5 school districts that are adopting a similar way of showing how we are accountable for what matters in our community, that there'll be some strength in those numbers and help that messaging. So more on that. I won't tell you which superintendents reached out to me yet because I don't want to put pressure on them. We're gonna get on a video call with them and hopefully get them on board with some of the work that we're doing as well. And to that end, I just want to share that John Tanner did produce another one-pager in his one-page series, and I'll continue to share those with the board as well. But the list of 5 things that for the last 2 decades parents have listed as what benefits they expect from their schools is they want to keep my child safe, make sure every child has friends and feels connected, focus on my child's creativity, engage my child in interesting and meaningful work. And I like this one, and I applaud parents for having this one high on the list. Recognize and support the ways my child is smart, not just where they struggle. Right? So reach our students where they are is what parents expect us to do. So that's the focus of our work. We want to be able to show our parents how we address these 5 things. And we can have accountability models from the top down for whatever motivations they're provided. But we want to be accountable to our community for those things that we think all parents should expect from
Do
schools.
we know what their grading system is going to be based
Yes,
on?
I will
Strictly
put,
testing?
absolutely, I will put, no, it's not. It's going to be multiple measures. And we thank the state for realizing that there needs to be multiple measures. It is still heavily weighted toward standardized tests, whether that be initial achievement on that test or growth from one year to the next. The difficult thing is to show that growth in a meaningful way from one test administration to another, knowing that students do not learn in a linear fashion. None of us learn in a straight linear fashion in most facets of our lives. So there's some concerns around that, of course, and we'll share that with our folks. And I'll share with you kind of the working draft that the state has put together. Another item would be attendance. So when we're talking about the attendance law earlier and the definition of chronically absent students, not necessarily truant students, that triggers at the 5% threshold. So any student who's missed more than 5% is labeled as chronically absent. So a 94.9% attendance rate is a chronically absent student. A 95% attendance rate is not. So that will weigh on the grade as well. And then the jury is still out on how potentially the graduation seals, as we're moving towards the new graduation seals, will play into the accountability grade as well. And I will share that we're still learning more every day. And to that end, I wasn't as read in on that as I perhaps should have been until just in the last 5 to 10 days. It's my understanding that diploma seals could potentially carry different point values. And Dr. Ottinger's nodding. So if that's the case, until I know more, if it's differentiated, I struggle with that to a degree because the whole premise of providing the diploma seals was to help a student in the pathway that is correct for them. So I struggle with how, if you're in the enrollment seal and you're in the enlistment seal and you're in the employment seal, and that's what each of the 3 of you need and want, why those would be scored differently.
And you're going to start pushing students into certain aspects.
So I don't know enough yet, but just the initial conversation around that is concerning. Those are 3 of the highlights, Mr. Parks. I read scores for the elementary will play in to the grade for your elementary grades as well. So so you're talking K through 8. You're still talking primarily attendance and standardized tests That's really all you have. Then at the high school, when you don't have the iLearn anymore, you're talking about these school day, SAT school day scores, the attendance rate, and then your diploma seals as well. So all a bit fluid right now, but I will send all of you the draft that the state's working with. Encourage you to ask questions, and then there will be a public comment period that's happening. Dr. Ottinger is pointing out to me that it is happening right now. And so you can go on to a jot form and you can share your thoughts on pros and cons around that A through F model. So, yes, more to come on that. And to that end, working with the students to reach those 5 attributes that parents feel are important, Deanna Nybarger will be coming to the school board in September to share with you the transition from our Pride program to We Are Tigers. And in your packet, you'll see that I've shared with you that the Tigers is also an acronym. Stands for teamwork, integrity, growth-minded, empowered, meaning we want our students to feel empowered to take charge of their goals, responsible and supportive. We want students to be all of us to be supportive of each other. So we're moving to We Are Tigers. We had 2,000 responses from our students on this initiative. Great response from our faculty and administration. That's a good response from our parents as well when Ms. Nybarger put that information out to get feedback, and ultimately landed on these words to accompany Tigers. We, as part of our comprehensive mental health grant, we're buying everybody a t-shirt to launch it in the 25-26 school year. And so we will be meeting with all teachers here at the high school for the first opening day, giving them their new We Are Tigers t-shirts, and with support from our community and sponsors. We're going to provide them a little light breakfast items. We've already secured support from Freedom Church, who's going to be helping us with defray some of the costs around that. If anybody's watching this meeting and wants to help us with any additional support to help feed our staff on that opening day, we'll welcome that. So Lexi's working on that as well. But and you may well be aware, Freedom Church also has their Serve Day and has helped our students with backpacks and getting ready for school and school supplies and things of that nature. And so we've been grateful for that, and grateful that they're willing to step in and do that for us here again. And I welcome the board to come on August 4th as well. So we'll be having breakfast with them from 8 to 9. And if you're a teacher watching this meeting, I promise you'll be out of here before 10 o'clock. Hopefully we'll be done before 9:30. We just want to get you in here, kind of launch the school year. Thank you for your hard work from last year. Welcome our new staff, and send you on your way, because we do have many teachers who are entering brand new classrooms and have a lot of supplies to unpack. So we don't want to take too much of their time. And with that is all my announcements and celebrations. So thank you for your patience. And I'll be happy to answer any additional questions you might have about any of those other items, if you have them.
Thank you. Informational items for our school construction renovation update.
I do have a few, if I may. And this is the last time we'll all be together before the first day of school, and we're going to be opening a few schools as completely turned over to us, which will be a site that for some of our elementary school students will be the first time in their career that they've not had contractors stationed outside while they've attended school, and certainly is the case for some of our students in the older grades as well. But as I kind of go around town here in my head, there have been a few items that are visible to the public from the exterior of some of our buildings. It seems like Central Elementary has been done for ages now, even though that was really back in April. But final landscaping grading has been placed there, as well as some final grade and seed. There is still some final grading to do in that site in totality. As you recall, that used to be a corn or bean field, depending on what year it is, and we have not turned all of that into hardscapes, and so there is some touch up to the site there to make that mowable and serviceable by our grounds team. But as we move from there, Lexi did a great job showcasing all of our buses moving to the new transportation facility on Facebook, if you saw that. It's remarkable to see those 3 awnings almost completely filled by our yellow school buses and our white school buses. We have our acoustical fence treatment placed there to try to keep as much of our sound as possible to ourselves and not make it to the neighbors. You'll notice that the middle school is ready for, we'll be receiving stone on the east lot, which is the new bus lot tomorrow, and we'll be laying binder and top coat there soon. Certainly the inside, and will not be visible to the public, is the massive quantities of furniture that have been delivered for our new cafeteria and administrative spaces in the classrooms and the media center, which I really think is a fantastic addition to that school. Moving east over to Harney, if you were to drive past there, you'll notice that Harney has received binder on both the lots at Harney and a little bit of Garfield Street as well. I'll be bringing a change order to the board for that this evening. The current geometry of Garfield Street was causing water to puddle against our curbs, and that's not something that we want long term. So we have actually milled and overlaid a bit of the city's infrastructure on Garfield Street, with their permission, of course, to improve the geometry of that so water flows north and off our site towards storm infrastructure. Moving down to Perry Worth, not much visible there from the outside, but really they're in the heart of that building in the space that our principal and our front office staff occupies. Obviously, you see not much work going on here at this facility quite yet, but I can assure you that footers have been poured. When we next meet here, we will begin to see us going vertical with the Student Activity Center, as precast walls are set to be delivered at the end of July, and those will be set, and we'll see a slab soon for the football locker room. If you would like to, I would certainly be happy to take the rest of the board. I took Mr. Klauser on a small tour of our corridors that have been painted, and new floors have been laid here, and the students, that will be a big visual impression to them. And finally, I suppose maybe a bit of a warning to the residents of Fordyce and John Bart Road. Would be remiss if I didn't thank the City of Lebanon, who quickly got on placement of new school zone signs for our new Central Elementary. So regular travelers down Fordyce and John Bart, I suppose, take heed to the new school speed limits there, as those will be enforced. So that is our construction update, and a lot of exciting things that are going to happen and still need to happen in the next 2 weeks before school begins.
Can't see them because they're the high vis, bright green, yellow green. Right?
I will mention to the board as well, make sure you get your calendars out this evening as a reminder. I put it in your board packet, but also for the benefit of those watching the meeting, we have set aside August 5th as a busy day. No, maybe not all board members can attend that day, but just to remind folks that August 5th at 9 o'clock, we're going to be doing a groundbreaking at the Tiger Cub preschool, pre-K, and our central office as well. The Transportation Center official ribbon cutting, and our bus drivers will be there to celebrate with us, which is great as well, because they'll be having their welcome back meeting. That will be at 10:30 on that same day. We'll be doing a groundbreaking at Hattie B. Stokes Elementary at 2 o'clock, and then coinciding with our back-to-school nights at our elementaries at Central at 4 o'clock, we'll be doing a ribbon cutting, Harney at 5, and Perry Worth at 6. So stay tuned. I'm going to be working on potentially getting us one mode of transportation, because we don't potentially want to fight all of the parents for the back-to-school nights. Mr. Klauser, we can just drop you off if you like. Maybe you can get a ride up here, and then we'll just drop you off at Perry Worth when we're done. And maybe we can all go together so we don't have to fight for parking spots. So stay tuned on maybe some organized transportation for the board and also our professional partners as well. So.
Moving on to consent agenda staff matters.
I have to get it open here. Thank you. This evening, I'm asking for approval of new hires for our classified staff numbers 1118 through 1120, and a resignation 1121. Oh, and I also have 1122 here as a separate as well on a separate item as well. So that would be classified matters under Indiana Code 2026-511, as you see as well. For certified staff this evening, asking for approval of a leave of absence number 341, new hires 342 through 349, resignations 350 through 353, and a transfer number 354. And under ECA staff matters this evening, many coaches, as you can see, for both middle school and high school, both returning and new hires, and would also mention among the ECA recommendations this evening is the resignation of head basketball coach, boys basketball coach, Albert Hendricks. I just wanted to mention that and call that one out specifically, just to thank him for his many years of service to the program and the district, and many memories with many teams, wins and losses, and you learn from both, as we all know, through our extracurricular competitions, and so we appreciate his years of service and wanted to mention that this evening. So those are my recommendations for staff matters this evening.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the staff matters classified, certified, and ECA as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you. All right, on to business matters. Mr. Dennis.
Thank you, Mrs. Hutchison. Attached, as always, is our monthly performance for the month, in this case ending June, and as well as 50% of the fiscal year for us, which is a calendar year. Also our expense chart, and as always, happy to answer any questions about that prior to reading the claims for board approval.
Any questions about that? Do you want me to do that separately or all together?
Nope,
All
we'll
right.
just go ahead and I'll read the
Keep on
claims now.
rolling.
Yep, perfect. So claims for this month in the amount of $4,890,381.08. Two payrolls, the June 20th and the June 3rd payroll, both of which totaling $2,022,622.55. Total between the two claims and payroll, $6,893,003.63.
Can I have a motion to approve the claims as presented for July payroll and June expenses as well?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Do we have any comments? All right. Change orders, Mr. Dennis.
Thank you, Mrs. Hutchison. We do have a few this month. We'll start top to bottom. Harney Elementary first. A few credits on there, and again, the work for the additional mill and overlay to correct the geometry of Garfield Street is on there to move water off of our sidewalks and curbs and towards a bit of storm infrastructure. Perry Worth, closing out two of the contractors and returning of allowance at that location, as well as a credit for a little bit of asphalt repair as well. Moving down, despite not many change orders being present this month at the middle school, there is one sizable one. $88,000, almost $89,000 overall, but $72,000 of that is the final total for the temp heat. It is our responsibility to provide temp heat for the contractors. That's always going to be provided through your mechanical contractor. That, of course, is never included in the bid documents because you have no idea what type of winter it's going to be, whether it's going to be mild or harsh. If the board will recall, we had a fairly harsh winter this year with an early break in the weather, only to return to another cold snap, resulting in quite a large amount of propane for temp heat for that. So it is a sizable change order, but considering 72,000 of it is for that temp heat, that is the nature of the size of that change order. Moving to transportation, we did have a few credits involving our asphalt contractor that resulted in a rather large total credit, as well as with our fencing contractor. I did mention the acoustic block, which if you drive by transportation is the black fence treatment. It looks just like a windscreen, but that's not what it is. It's actually an acoustical treatment that is hung on a fence. You go back to bid day on that, which was more than a year and a half ago. There has been a lot of shocks to the global supply chain and quite honestly other economical indicators. That fence treatment became more expensive than it was on bid day. We do have clauses in our contracts with our prime contractors that cover material escalation. To be frank, they're quite favorable for us. The contractor did bear quite a bit of this cost. It's always a difficult conversation to have with the contractor, as that certainly does eat quite a bit into their bottom line, but that's why we reduce our relationship towards via a contract, and so we follow the contract on that. After that, just a few things at Hattie B. Stokes. So I tried to be comprehensive there in my description of what you're seeing there. Happy to answer any specific questions or things that I did not address from the board. Otherwise, appreciate your action approving these change orders.
Any questions about these change orders? We're gonna miss the meetings when we come, and there'll be no change orders ever again.
Soon we'll be hiding those rows that are our elementary schools as we are working towards closeout there. So this document will shrink drastically.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the change orders as presented by Mr. Dennis?
So moved.
And I will second. Any questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Moving on to, just lost my place, resolutions for approved middle school and transportation projects.
So the next 4 action items are mine. They are 2 identical action items for 2 separate project resolutions. It is the time of year where we are set to approve the next cash flow issuance for our construction projects. So the board will recall we really have 3 authorizations that we're working on currently. The first is the 2022 referendum. As a reminder to the board, we have executed that referendum fully. There is no more bonds to sell under that current authorization. Those are in our possession. In fact, the first issuance that we did back in 2023, which was in the amount of $77 million after premium was received that day, we have fully expended that amount, and we are on to the second issuance that we did last year. The next issuance that we did was back in 2023, and that was to support the middle school renovation that's taking place right now and the construction of the transportation facility. We have issued twice on that, a small general obligation bond in 2023, a larger lease rental obligation in 2024, and that is the current authorization where cash flow is the biggest need right now. From that issuance, the 2024 issuance, we are sitting currently after the payments that are being made for the June pay applications. We have roughly $13 million left. With the current tenor and amount of pay applications that are being submitted for the middle school and transportation right now, that cash conservatively can last us for another approximately 3 months. The action that I'm bringing to the board this evening gives us the authorization to go ahead and sell those bonds for the next injection of cash flow basically at any point after this meeting, to make sure that we have cash on hand to continue making the payments for specifically the middle school. As transportation, we're in closeouts now, but there's a large amount still at transportation. But also the Guaranteed Energy Savings Project is lumped into that as well. The next authorization is the authorization that was made it through the 30-day period last year, the 2024 authorization. And I'm trying to be as descriptive as I can here because many dates repeat. But that authorization was for high school, preschool, and the administration. We issued once on that last year in the amount of roughly $33 million. Quite frankly, a lot of that cash still remains. We're not at a spot where we need to issue on that, but I thought best to get authorization to issue on that in one meeting this evening and take care of it all at once. Truth be told, we may not need to issue again on that this year. That cash is holding up right now. There may not be a need to issue on that, and when we next see each other, we'll talk about the effects of Senate Enrolled Act 1 and why our long-standing strategy for tax rate management is being forced to move to levy management. And I bring that up because we may issue bonds in February of next year, which we would never generally do because we do not get assessed valuation until August. But now that we're being driven to levy-based strategies as opposed to rate-based strategies, it doesn't matter anymore. In other words, our tax rate is going to go up, preview of next month's meeting. So with that being said, the action this evening, there are two identical resolutions, just one for the middle school transportation authorization and one for the high school and preschool. So they are the first, and this is Exhibit A for both. So this is, I thought best, rather than do these as one vote, since these are four separate resolutions, I wanted to be on record as having four approvals. So the first one will concern the middle school, as Mrs. Hutchison said, and the first one is a resolution reapproving the building corporation. So two types of debt for schools in Indiana. One is a general obligation bond where the school corporation itself is the bond issuing entity. The second is a lease rental where your approved building corporation is actually issuing tax-exempt bonds on behalf of the school corporation. Every time you do one of these, you have to pass a resolution reapproving the building corporation, which is what this first action item is tonight. So this is reapproving the existence of Lebanon Middle School Building Corporation for the purpose of the middle school transportation bonds, or the project resolution that passed in 2023. Happy to answer any questions on this, but this first action item is just the school board reapproving the building corporations to issue tax-exempt bonds on our behalf.
Did you say you wanted us to take these separately? Or?
Please,
Okay.
please.
Then we will do that. Can I have a motion to approve the first resolution reapproving the building corporation for the middle school and transportation projects?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Any questions about that? All in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? The second, Exhibit B, a resolution approving the 11th supplement to the master continuing disclosure undertaking for the middle school and transportation projects. Can I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions?
Would you like an explanation of what that resolution is?
That's what I was
If you
gonna-
would, yes,
Yeah.
please, go ahead.
So this resolution is always the biggest word salad. This resolution basically states that the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, requires a school corporation to disclose, so it's a continuing disclosure, to disclose any material financial events that have happened to the school corporation to their investors. So this happens 4 times a year. I answer a checklist. Ice Miller, our bond counsel, takes care of this for us, and they ask, have we granted or sold any land? Well, we grant easements with some regularity, so we have to disclose that. Now, they are immaterial from a security standpoint, because again, our land is the security on these bonds, and so they want to know that. They want to know if we've defaulted on any bond payments. They want to know if we plan on issuing any more debt. So it's really a questionnaire that allows us to communicate our credit worthiness to our investors that have invested in us. And so what happens is each time we issue bonds, we have to pass this resolution that says we will do this, that the school corporation will disclose that information to its investors. So this is, and again, pertains to the middle school transportation authorization.
Any more questions about that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. D, the approval for the reapproving of the building corporation for the high school and administration center.
So this could now go much faster. So going back to the first resolution we had, this is reapproving the building corporation for the 2024 authorization, the high school preschool authorization.
I will make a motion to approve that. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
Is this under the same, and maybe it's my copy, but I'm still showing that as the Lebanon Middle School Building Corporation. Is it the same corporation for both resolutions?
That's a
Correct.
fantastic question. So the building corporation was established years ago. And so we do, it's ironic and a coincidence that we're working on the middle school and the Middle School Building Corporation. That's just the name that they chose for this when it was originally formed years ago.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure.
I believe it's when it was renovated, yes, is the origin of this, yeah.
I'll probably ask you the same question next time around, too.
Fair.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? And then E, approval, a resolution approving the 12th supplement to the Master Continuing Disclosure Undertaking for the High School and Administration Center projects. Mr. Dennis.
So we've moved from the 11th to the 12th. This is us saying that we will participate in disclosure activities for the high school and preschool.
Can I have a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Any other questions about that? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you, Mr. Dennis. Second reading of policy 8500.
Yes, no changes from the policy that came before the board last time, and thank Mr. Martin and Mr. Anstett for their hard work on this. Happy to answer any questions, or Mr. Martin would, if the board may have.
Any questions before we call? All right, can I have a motion to approve policy 8500?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right.
Do we need to add an agenda item for next month's color of the board?
Oh, we all coordinated well,
Mr.
didn't
Dennis.
we?
Just wondering.
Mr.
Very
Mr.
nice.
Dennis didn't get the memo this time.
Tell ya.
It'll be purple next month. Our upcoming meetings, August 7th, students are back. That's coming up quickly. Our next meeting, we have a budget work session on August 19th at 6, and then our regular board meeting at 7 right here. So we are adjourned. Enjoy the rest of your